Hello and welcome to my Tuesday forecast. So let's take a look at what the market has been doing. And first we are seeing the euro and the US dollar. What I'm seeing right here is that we are breaking the lows and retracing. So we are moving in this descending structure. So this descending channel. And as we can see, we broke this low, retraced, broke this low, retraced. So what I can expect is actually to see more of this descending structure, so something like this, and then maybe a smaller descending. Then we get a push to the upside, and I would look for a long trade. I know that this would be very high probability since we are now seeing a small descending inside a larger descending. And what I really do like about this price action is that we are just breaking the lows and retracing and leaving wicks. So we broke the low, left the wick, we broke the low just with a wick, and then left a large wick. So we need to see what happens next, but currently this is showing to me personally a very clean descending structure. So I am looking for momentum to the upside in order to get in on a long trade. Also, what can happen, so we can shoot to the downside from here. Then I would also look for a trade. I know that that is a pattern on the euro pairs. We get a descending, then an impulse in the same direction as the descending. Also, what can happen, so we can get this push to the upside, then a small pullback, another push, look for a long trade. Then that would be very high probability. Same thing to the downside, we can get a push, pullback, another push. So look for a short trade, and this is the break and the retest entry that I call the bullet. So my community calls this the bullet entry. So we break the low and then we retrace back to the most recent low, and then that would be the that would be the entry point. Also, a possibility is that we continue ranging between the low and the high. I know that that is one of the characteristics of the euro pair, is that it really likes to range for a long time between the low and the high. So that's it what I'm looking for on this pair. Oh, and also the last possibility, so we can get an ascending from here, and to me then I would look for a really large impulse to the downside to enter a short trade, because I know if we get a descending into this ascending structure, then it is very likely that we will be range bound and just get something like this. And since I am a trend trader, I want to avoid ranging price action, so if I see this, I will definitely stay out of the market and look for a better opportunity. Let's move on to the euro and the Japanese yen. So this pair is, well, it's not really showing me any momentum. To me, it is just ranging. So we broke the high, retrace, broke the low, retraced, signaling to us ranging price action. So I know when I see a break of the high and this kind of retrace, break of the low, and retrace leaving a wick, that we just get a range, which we then got. So we got this ranging price action, that we then broke the high, retraced, left a huge wick, broke the low, retraced. And to me, this is just ranging price action, and I need to see a nice big impulse either to the upside. Then I will look for a long trade, or maybe we get a nice big push, pull back, another push, look for a break and a retest. We can get this clean ascending structure, and if we get a nice push to the downside, then I would look for a short trade. Also, what can happen, what I would expect is the highest probability is that we will just continue ranging, because I'm getting signals of ranging price action right here. So I note that it is very likely that we will just continue with this range. Also, I would like to see for the price to push to the downside, then look for a short entry, or maybe we get a push, pullback, break and a retest, so a bullet entry. Or what can happen also, we can get a nice clean descending from here, look for an impulse to the upside and look for a trade. What I do need to keep in mind is that because we're getting this range, so there are liquidity areas both above and below the range, and I need to monitor how the price enters these areas. Does it just break and retrace, or do we get a nice clean push and then a small continuation pattern? That signals to me we have broken out of the range and broken out of the liquidity areas, because I know that, as I said, there are people stops here, people that go short, people that go long. So we can just break into the liquidity area, maybe get a small ascending structure and get a nice push to the downside. Then I would also look for a trade, because I know that right here the market makers are taking out people's stops from the liquidity area, and that they are very likely to push the price to the downside. So that is also something to keep in mind. And that is it for the euro pairs. Now let's take a look at the Aussie pairs. So first is the Aussie and the US dollar. Also, to me, this is a ranging price action. We're breaking the highs retracing, breaking the lows retracing, so signaling just more of this range. So that is what I can forecast. So at the last candle we did see this nice big candle, but how did it end? It ended with a double wick and it just broke out of this range. So to me, I wasn't looking for any trades. To me, this just broke out of the range and retraced back into the range structure. And also right here, what I need to keep in mind is the liquidity areas right here below and above. So this is what I was talking about. We can just break into the liquidity area, get double wicks and retrace back into the range. So I need to get a nice big impulse either to the downside. So let me just remove this. I need to get a nice big impulse either to the downside and look for a trade, or maybe get an impulse, pull back another impulse that would signal to me a trend, or I need to see a nice big impulse to the upside, look for a long trade. Maybe we get a nice big impulse, pull back another impulse, also look for a long trade, so a break and a retest. What can happen, we can get an ascending structure into the liquidity area and then see a nice push to downside. I would definitely be taking this trade, because I know it's high probability that the market makers are taking out liquidity and are ready to push the price to the downside. So same thing right here. If I see a nice clean descending and a nice push to the upside showing me momentum, I would definitely be looking for this long trade. But as I said, what I can expect is more ranging price action, because that is what the market is currently signaling to me. So that's it for the Aussie and the US dollar. Now for the last pair, so for the Aussie and the Japanese yen. So this pair is also to me currently ranging. Why? Because we broke this high, retraced, broke the low, retraced, broke the low, retraced with a huge wick. So we are now seeing some continuation to the downside, so we need to see what happens. But what I can expect and what the market is currently signaling to me is just more ranging price action, because we are breaking the highs retracing, breaking the lows retracing, and leaving huge wicks to the upside and huge wicks to the downside. So what I need to see is a nice big push to the upside, look for a trade, or a nice big push, pull back another push, break and a retest, so a bullet trade. Same thing to the downside, I want to see a nice big impulse, look for a bomb trade, or a nice big push, pull back another push, then the retest of the most recent low. To me, this would signal a trend. When we get a push, pull back another push, these are now two impulses, and to me I classify that as a trend. So it is very high probability to continue with the trend, for the price to continue. Also, if we do get a larger range here, as I said, on most pairs today, so I will be looking at the liquidity areas. That is very, very important. So, and how do we reach these liquidity areas? So do we just break and retrace, or do we break with some conviction and get an opportunity to enter on a short trade, or same thing to the upside. So that is it for the Aussie and the Japanese yen. Currently the market is ranging, and I want to see some momentum. I want to see some clean moves that move away from this ranging price action. So today is still Tuesday, and I know that on Mondays and Tuesdays the market tends to be predominantly range bound. So we will see what happens on a Wednesday. Maybe we get some nice large moves.